What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Seattle Emeralds MyNBA series here. We are officially past the trade deadline. We just simulated it last episode as we took an L to the Magic by about 20 points. Actually, more than that. It was almost 40 points if I'm, looking at the numbers correctly. But we made a few big trades. We brought in James Harden, not necessarily as like a ceiling, riser, but we brought him in a one-sided deal for the Clippers to get off his contract. We'll take it on for 2 years, and then we'll also get 2 first-round picks in the long grand scheme of things. I still think that was a major decision. We also traded away Derrick Jones Jr., or traded away Simon Fontecchio. We had to decide between Derrick Jones Jr. and Hugh Hawkins. We ended up going for Hugh Hawkins just because he's a little bit younger. He brings a little bit more to the table as far as a rebuilding team goes. I don't necessarily expect him to come in and ever be a star or a starter on our team, but maybe just a solid option off the bench for the next few years, especially if we can develop him. Rondé Wood did get to star in the rookie showcase. He had 14 and only missed 2 shots, but Glenn Griffin, this guy's been great for the Bullets. That crazy trade with the Hawks after the Hawks already selected him. They went a few picks later and traded him to Austin. Atlanta is probably regretting that, as Glenn Griffin is basically the unanimous leader right now in Rookie of the Year votings. And then Cliff Russell, the #1 overall pick, the guy that we desperately wanted, is just kind of rotting away on the bench in Houston. He hasn't really played all that much. He did okay in the rookie showcase game. But for the sophomores, Dylan Harper playing a little bit better this year. Cooper Flagg playing just as good as last year, but not, rising as much as you would hope. But he does have a lot of players around him that are kind of taking up the shots. Ace Bailey had a good game. He had about 17 and, 16 and only missed 4 shots all night long. Igor Demon had a really good game. That sophomore class is very stacked. As far as the dunk contest and three-point contest goes, we do actually have a guy win. Ace Bailey is in the dunk contest, and he takes it home. So Ace Bailey gets a slam dunk championship, and Dante DiVincenzo takes home the three-point contest championship. Unfortunately, it doesn't give you like a graphic or anything to show you who won. I was kind of hoping it would, but, that's probably a little bit too developed for NBA 2K to do something like that for whatever reason. It's not like they're a multi-million-dollar company. Here's a look at the All-Star teams. Obviously, we didn't have anybody, but Joel Embiid, the newest Bullet, traded for him a couple weeks back at the trade deadline, out for the season. I mean, you can't make this stuff up in real life or in NBA 2K25. Bullets bit the bullet, no pun intended, and made that trade for Joel Embiid to try and get into contention very early in their franchise history. And now a lot of question marks about that trade. On the Western side of things, this is what everybody looks like. I mean, basically your typical guys you would expect: Shea, Ja, Ant-Man, Luka, all of them. Paolo Banchero, now a member of the San Antonio Spurs, somehow made it over there as he got into the All-Star teams. This is the voters. A couple of these guys did not actually make the All-Star game somehow, despite being top 10 in votes, like VJ Edgecombe, Lonzo Ball, Igor Demon. Those guys got a lot of votes, but they did not make the All-Star teams. The Eastern Conference, once again, back-to-back years, takes home the All-Star trophy. Jason Tatum, 29, 8, and 6. He's going to take home All-Star MVP. Zion had a good game, though, for the other side of things, as we are currently sitting after All-Star break. Not very pretty. We're about, 5 games back from the 10 seed. We're 26 and 21. But man, it's going to take a lot of effort to try and make a run, try and get a push into the playoffs. We're not looking very pretty. I wanted to get into the play-in tournament. At minimum, have a chance to fight for a playoff spot. But unfortunately for us, it's just beginning to look less and less likely with the way this team's performing, especially with how they're performing on the road. They have not shown me any sign that they can play well on the road. James Harden, I mean, not the same Harden you once, knew. And after deliberation, we have decided, alongside head coach Rajon Rondo, to put Harden into that starting point guard position, just to give Isaiah Collier a bit of a smaller offensive pressure role off the bench. He's going to be coming in as the backup point guard. Malik Monk is back. So this is really our first look at this team with the new pieces. I mean, we've got Hugh Hawkins. Don't expect him to get a lot of playing time. He may play a couple minutes here and there. But really, we're excited to see how James Harden can take this team over. I'm not expecting, I mean, look at the stats. He's 21 points per game 5 years ago. Now he's all the way down to almost 10.5 points per game. I mean, yes, he's old. He's fallen off, but I'm really looking forward to seeing if he can kind of be that facilitator that we need out of a veteran point guard like James Harden. Obviously, Isaiah Collier wasn't terrible at it, but he just wasn't the best facilitator when it came to running the offense. He had his games, he had his moments, but I'm hoping James Harden can kind of let our offense roll and get in a flow a lot more as we take on the Indiana Pacers. Another team, though, in the Eastern Conference that's very solid. I believe they're like the 5 or 6 seed, so we'll see how we go up against one of these playoff teams. Tyrese Halliburton, step-back jumper early on Harden. He hits it. James Harden, not known as a defender in his MVP days, definitely not going to be known as a defender now as he is 38 years old. As we see the starting lineup of Ace Bailey, J-Dub, James Harden, Rondé Wood, and Jalen Williams sliding into that starting role over Bobby Portis. Now Ace Bailey gets us started with a couple of baskets here off of that layup. Now Halliburton working on Harden. We'll see this matchup all day long. Harden deflects it out of his hands. Good shot attempt, or bad shot attempt by Halliburton. Harden, after the block in transition, hits the 3. Maybe the beard is still the beard, as this time a little step-back jumper won't get it to fall. Rondé Wood with the rebound. Good job by Siakam, but Wood throws it away. Halliburton standing in the lanes. He's going to drive into the paint. Pump fake layup is good. Little float game there after the quick shot by Halliburton. Both teams up here with a couple 7 and 8 points for the Pacers. 7 for the Pacers, 8 for the Emeralds. Miles Turner able to box out Harden. Good spin move. Nobody there to help. I mean, where is the help defense? Both teams, though, right around 40% from the field as James Harden gets the screen, drives, kicks it to Bailey, cross-court, passes there, and it's a 3 for Ace Bailey. He's got 8 of the first 13 now for this Emeralds offensive unit. Now Nembhard is out there. He's going to be working on Collier. Good defensive matchup for us, in my opinion, as Siakam's going to get it back to Nembhard. Good collision by Collier, not to foul him, but Nembhard still makes it. So a 13-5 run by the Pacers after a quick lead for the Emeralds gives them that 3-point advantage, but Jalen Williams looks to respond with the leaning jumper as he now makes it a 13-8 run for Indiana. He's able to knot this one up as we now have a 2-point lead a little bit later in the first quarter. David Roddy intercepted by J-Dub. He jumps in that passing lane. He's got Jarris Walker on him. Let's see what he's got. He's going to go off the screen from the other Jalen Williams, who lays it up and in. The connection is there, and both teams kind of improving their field goal percentage here up to around 40% again. Or about a minute to go, or half a minute to go here in this third quarter. Cole Anthony skip pass. Good job to get there. Tyrese Halliburton, next pass over to Roddy, who hits the 3. David Roddy, the former Grizzly, has found his role in Indiana as a spot-up shooter and a defender off the bench. Tyrese Halliburton drives. Final seconds, Euro step over Collier. Bad defensive set there by Isaiah Collier. 2.5 to go. Lobbing it up. Corey Kispert lets it fly at the buzzer. And he hits it. The 3-point expert, Corey Kispert. What a job by J-Dub to get it ahead. He just finds Kispert and gives him a chance at hitting the shot. Now Ace Bailey to start the second quarter finds Monk off the bench, and he hits the 3. So a 6-point swing to start in the first and to start the second. Bobby Portis now going to pump fake. Kicks it back out. Monk looking for back-to-back triples. Can't get it to fall. This stadium would have went crazy for Malik Monk hitting that one. Instead, Roddy lobs it up to Walker, who throws it down. Jarris Walker, slam dunk off the transition possession there as we see Malik Monk now driving. Good defense by the Pacers. Kispert has to let it fly. 9 seconds left on the shot clock. He would have liked to maybe another pass down low to Bobby Portis rather than a forced three-pointer. But instead, the Pacers force the miss, and they have a 2-point lead looking to expand it. Roddy drives, kicks it. Nesmith jumper is good. Automatic for Aaron Nesmith. He has found his place on the Pacers after a rough start in Boston. Deflection. The Pacers are on a roll. Jarris Walker ahead of the pack. He throws it down. And Rondo wants a timeout. A quick 8-point lead for the Pacers after some good defensive sets and good offensive sets as well. Nembhard now gets a screen from Turner. He's going to drive. Bad defense by Harden and Rondé Wood. And Nembhard puts their lead now to 10 as we are under 3 minutes to go. Rondé Wood kicks it. Bobby Portis trailing three is good in the corner. I don't know why I said trailing three. I meant to say the defender is trailing behind. He tried to get out there, but he just couldn't get there in time, as the Pacers now and Rick Carlisle want a timeout, a quick timeout to stop any momentum the Emeralds might have after that bucket from Portis. What do the Pacers have? Trying to get back on track. Nembhard no, I thought he was gonna pull that three. Instead, they're gonna reset down to Siakam. I don't think that's much of a mismatch. Good defense by J. Will as he stands his ground on Pascal Siakam, and the Emeralds have a chance to cut this one down to 5 or even 4 with the right offensive set. James Harden's being guarded by Nembhard. Harden is going to kick it around to Rondé Wood, who dumps it down. Deflected. Ball's rolling around. J. Will somehow finds it. Layup past Nesmith. Good job getting that possession to go somewhere after a rocky start. And this one's back up to 8 now for the Pacers. Jalen Williams around double screens. He's going to let the mid-range jumper fly, and he hits it. Plus the foul. Aaron Nesmith doesn't think he touched him, but I mean, I thought that one was pretty obvious in my opinion. Aaron Nesmith, didn't give him space to land, and J-Dub's able to finish the jumper and the free throw. So now that is an and one the old-fashioned way. 45-52. Rondé Wood comes from behind to deflect that one. Jalen Williams in transition. Three is good. J-Dub from deep three-point land, and the Emeralds going good now. They are cooking with grease fire. Unfortunately, can't hit that one. And that is now a 2.5-minute scale without the Pacers scoring, but then Nembhard ends that here with 8 to go in the third quarter. 56-50. Pacers still leading. Jay Will's going to swing it. Extra pass. Malik Monk lets it fly, and he's got 6 off the bench. Monk is playing for a new contract. We've got to decide if he's worth it, as James Harden been quiet since that early three. He's going to go to Rondé Wood. Wood's going to back down Halliburton. He's got the mismatch. This one deflected. No, bobbled by J. Will. Siakam's got it. In transition. Goes to Halliburton. Corner three. He hits it. What a just arrangement of events for this Pacers offensive unit. I mean, good pass by Rondé Wood. Jalen Williams just can't catch it, and it ends up in the hands of Siakam as J-Dub can't get it to fall. Rebound goes to Rondé Wood. He gets his first bucket of the night. He's been quiet, but 7 boards, so he's playing pretty well on the boards, just not doing much offensively, as this lead is now 2. J-Dub trying to give the Emeralds the advantage. First lead for Seattle in a long time. 65-62. Ace Bailey looks to extend it with the fadeaway jumper. That defense was weak by Nembhard, but he does not make them pay. Now Nembhard drives. Ace Bailey plus the contact. No foul called. And Nembhard has 14 on the night. A tough finish there. 65-64 now. Halliburton. He's had a good first half and now a good second half. The three is good as well. Man, he is automatic. 24 on the night for Halliburton, as they are now set to jump this off. Siakam's going to get it off the tip from Jarris Walker. He is going to drive. He's going to lob it down low to Walker. Walker throws it down. He has 12 points, all of them coming around the basket. 75-73 as we are now nearing this fourth quarter. Ace Bailey drives. Ace Bailey plus the foul. Cole Anthony tried to stop him at the rim, and Bailey finishes around the defender's hand. And he's able to get the layup to fall. Can he hit the and one? He cannot. So he can't finish the and one opportunity. We are tied now with about 15 seconds to go. Forced jumper late in the shot clock. Rondé Wood. No, that's a Dembona. Can't finish the layup after the putback. Now we're final seconds of the third. Can the Pacers give themselves a lead? Ace Bailey drives. Aaron Nesmith drives. David Roddy deflected and no good on the layup. So we're going to go into the fourth all knotted up. Bobby Portis and Kispert are able to knock that one away from the hands of David Roddy. So we have a chance. Anybody's ball game right now. Ace Bailey looking for the first bucket. He's going to drive, kick it. Bobby Portis off the pass from Kispert. Bang! Bobby Portis hits the three early in this one. Portis has lost his role as the starting power forward after a disappointing season so far. We're going to see if he can make his impact felt more on the bench. Kelly Olynyk now in the game. The newest Emerald. Cole Anthony instead is going to bang that one home as they make that a tie ball game again. 81 all. Ace Bailey looking to drive. Gets the screen from Kispert. Kispert lets it fly. Good defense by Nembhard. He closes but not too close, and he's ahead of the pack. Nobody back to catch him. Nembhard's spin move. I mean, he made that a little interesting. Got a little turned around underneath the basket, and he, unfortunately for us, was still able to hit the layup despite the late contest by Monk, as James Harden now with 5 on the afternoon finds Monk, who hits the corner 3. Malik Monk with 13 off the bench. 13, 3, and 3 as this one goes back and forth. 86-85 now. The Emeralds in control. Halliburton being guarded by Harden. He's looking down low for Siakam. Instead decides for a mid-range jumper. He cooked Harden right there. And another bucket for Tyrese. He has 26 now. J-Dub open for a second. He's going to pump fake. Drive. Can't get anywhere. It's deflected. Gets it back. Hits Ace Bailey for 3. Ace Bailey making sure the Emeralds stay ahead in this one. 91-89. Nembhard's going to drive. Kick it to Siakam, who doesn't go for the 3, but he gets a pump fake. Nembhard gets it back in. Nembhard gives the Pacers the lead. I mean, this one is back and forth. Nobody seems to be able to get a stop. 94-91. A Collier in the game now for defense. He's got J-Dub. Corner 3, hits it again, knotted back up at 94. J-Dub with 24, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists on the night as they continue to go back and forth, shot for shot. Who's going to miss first? Halliburton working on Collier, who's been quiet all night, but Collier is in the biggest moment for defense. Halliburton drives, down low, Turner plus the foul. Rondé Wood, I mean, great positioning, but still not able to stop Miles Turner, who converts the and one after the free throw, or after the and one layup. Tyrese Halliburton now jump shot, no good. So the Emeralds down by 1. J-Dub, I mean, Ace Bailey is dead tired. He's going to drive, he's going to kick it to J-Dub. Bailey was open for a second, decides for a contested jumper. I mean, what was that possession? As it is now 97-96. Nembhard drives. You can't allow a 3. Whatever you do, Nembhard open. Jumper is good. Oh, my goodness. Exactly what you couldn't do. I mean, you live to see another day, down by 3 here with 50 to go. 50 seconds. J-Dub drives, kicks it. Harden for the tie. No good. That's going to hurt. You've got to get a stop here. Halliburton guarded by Harden, up by 3, 38 seconds to go. A shot here could be the dagger. Pump fake. Halliburton kicks it to Nembhard, who kicks it to Siakam. Where do they go with it? Down low to Burton. Rondé Wood guarding him. Halliburton under the rim. Layup, no good. Rejected by the Rook. Rondé Wood not playing well on offense tonight, but his defensive presence was felt there. He has a couple blocks here tonight, and that one could be his biggest one. Pacers inbounded. Halliburton's lost. Bang! Halliburton. Timeout, Emeralds. Oh, my goodness. No, no, no. You can't allow him to get that open, as now you've pretty much got to force something up. Bailey, jab step 3. No good. That is just about going to do it. Can you force a turnover? No, you cannot. 10 seconds to go. You've got to foul if you want a chance with 9 left. The Pacers, oh my goodness. Tyrese Halliburton ended this one. Harden does hit the late 3 with about 3 seconds to go, but I mean, it's still a 4-point game. No timeouts left, or 1 timeout left for the Emeralds. They don't even foul. Another stolen game for Seattle. I mean, man, 2 wins in a row. I felt like this was our, let's get back on track, let's get this together. And we just, man, fumbled at the last second. Tyrese Halliburton, what a game. I mean, he couldn't hit a 3 to save his life until it was most important. He had 30 and 7. Nembhard had 24. Cole Anthony off the bench only missed 1 shot. He was 1 of 1 from 3. Jarris Walker only missed 1 shot. This team is so well-rounded. I mean, they did all that, and Pascal Siakam only shot it 5 times. I mean, wow. That hurts a lot. I really was hoping for a win there. I think, you know, that could have gave us a bit of a momentum swing, and that loss might officially end any hopes we have of making it into the playoffs, or the play-in tournament, because we really desperately needed to get a win there. I mean, as you can see, since then, we were able to get a dub against the Lakers, winning by 13. The Lakers aren't exactly the pinnacle of very good. I mean, their best point guard is Dennis Schroeder, who, don't get me wrong, is solid in his heyday. I mean, he had a few years there in Atlanta almost averaging 20 points per game, but he's 33 now, so he's not going to be anywhere near where he once was. Dalton Connect's having a great year for them. They've got a solid roster, but they're just not a very good opponent. We lose to the Spurs by 3. That one hurts. Devin Vassell dropped 25. Cooper Flagg with 22. Wemby with 20 and 9 and 3 blocks as well. John L. Davis, undrafted player out of Arizona from a few years ago, I guess. 20 years old. He looks really good. I mean, he had 19 against us, and then Steph Castle still being really good there for the Spurs. And then we also took a 1-point loss to the Hornets, who are very good this year. Don't get me wrong. Brandon Miller, 25. And they didn't even have Melo. So, wow. Another loss. Where does that leave us right now in the playoff picture? We probably dropped, to be honest. We are still in it. I mean, we're 6 games back from the 10 seed. We're going to see how close we actually get to winning anything or getting close. If we get to like the 11 seed or 12 seed and we're right there, we're going to play a couple of these games to end the season to see if we can make our way into it. But if not, we're going to fly through the rest of the season. I mean, we've got a month and a half left, a month and 2 weeks, really. Not even a month and like a week and a half till April 11th. We have all of March, though. We are now on March 1st. And we have some contract extensions to talk about. I would love to see or get your guys' feedback before we advance. Malik Monk right now is wanting about $5 million a year, which in my opinion is a steal. I feel like he should get more. So if I'm going to be honest, I'm probably going to offer him a very, very solid contract. I'm probably going to go up on it because I feel like it's not fair to take advantage of a guy like that. We're probably looking at, right now he's making about $20 million. I wouldn't say he's good enough to make $20 million a year. But if we're going to do 2 years, $20 million, about $10 million a year, I think that's a very good, solid deal for Malik Monk, especially with his role off the bench. So this is about what we're looking at. I'm going to actually give him 3 years plus, or 2 years plus a team option at the end of it. So he has a chance to make $30 million in total, especially if we accept that. We're going to do a flat so it doesn't increase at all going forward. And it's just a fair contract if he's going to do that. 10 years, 2+1, a team trade or team option at the very end of it for that extra third year. He'll be 32 by then. And we'll see if he's regressed or if he's gotten better. Let me know what you guys think of that deal. Jalen Williams, however, I'm thinking about 2 years, $7 million for him. I mean, he's a young guy still. He's only 24. He's not playing a major role, but I do like the role that he plays. The only problem is him and Bobby Portis are so similar. Maybe we let him go out there and test the free agent market. Those are the only 2 guys right now that are actually re-signable at this moment. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about them. Where you land on the Malik Monk, Jalen Williams re-sign trade. I will open a poll and let you guys vote on it in my community tab if you guys are interested in that. But as this season is coming to a close, I really want to go ahead and get a look at the rest of the first round prospects that we haven't seen. I mean, last time we went through the first 16, we had some really interesting guys. Obviously, things are shifting. We'll talk about, once we get closer to the draft, the changes since the first mock draft. But we're now going to get a chance to look at who is currently looking to go in the latter half of the first round. Right now, we're projected to be picking about 6. So right now, they think we're going to be going after Jamal Reed. I don't really know exactly where we're going to go yet. I mean, we haven't really scouted all that well, which, by the way, I do need to check. For whatever reason, I think my scouting might be turned off. Is it? Let's see if I can fix that. So taking a look at everybody we didn't get into last time around, we're going to start out with 6'7", Bryce Witherspoon. He's 19 years old. He's playing for the Memphis Tigers. Having a really solid year. 20 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 1 steal. Shooting it solid from the field as well in about 30 games this year at Memphis. Bryce is a very athletic and flashy, high-flying small forward. He's very explosive, streaky shooter, but he's very charismatic and a leader on the court. His biggest traits, in my opinion, quick first step. Transition is amazing. And he's a pretty solid playmaker for a, 6'7" small forward. As far as comparisons go, for Bryce Witherspoon, I think we're looking at like a Gerald Green, J.R. Smith type guy, a high flyer early in his career. But as his career goes on, if he can get a better offensive repertoire, like a better jump shot, a better, just more consistent shot selection, I think he's going to be a solid role player, especially if he can become a plus defender as his career moves on. The next guy that we did not get a look at, as this has definitely changed since I last did it, we're going to have to shift around here. We're going to look at Omar Diop. He's currently right now projected to go around number 22. This guy's a 6'11 center out of the Senegal. Comparisons to guys like Clint Capella, Mitchell Robinson. Diop is a very raw but very promising defensive big. Reminds me of also a very, very, very young, raw Joel Embiid, especially, with the personality and where he's from. Diop is a athletic rim protector. This guy's going to block shots. He's going to rebound. And he's probably going to be a really good lob finisher like Clint Capella was, especially in his Houston Rockets days. Unfortunately, he does need a lot of help on offense. He's going to have to be drafted into a situation where he can grow, where he can expand his role. But I do think he's going to do a really good job of becoming at least serviceable bench center. Next up, we've got Logan Holt out of Syracuse. The 6'5 shooting guard is getting comparisons to Derrick Jones Jr., but a little smaller. And then Hamidou Diallo. Obviously, Hamidou Diallo, not the best NBA player, but the reason for that is because he's a raw but very promising shooting guard with very, very high-level athleticism. Just so explosive and energetic on offense and defense. Not that he's necessarily the best at those positions or those roles, but he's got a very fast step. He's a strong finisher, and he's great in transition with his athleticism. As I mentioned, if Logan Holt can refine his game, even though he's 22, a little bit on offense and become a little bit more consistent on defense, I think this guy's going to be a really good starting shooting guard, potentially like a Derrick Jones Jr. hybrid type guy. Maybe eventually make the shift over to the small forward position if he becomes a bit of a better player across his career. Next up, we've got X, or Xavier Holloway. Currently, he originally was projected late in the first round, but he's only 18 years old. He's jumped all the way up to number 11 in most mock drafts. Xavier Holloway is a 6'3 shooting guard, or point guard shooting guard out of UCLA. Drawing comparisons to a very solid six-man of the year, Jamal Crawford, maybe the best six-man of the year ever, are also a very solid role player in Jordan Clarkson. A lot of scouts, consider him to be a combo guard, which is why he's listed as shooting guard as well, despite his height being a little bit on the smaller side. But he's very good on offense. He's a very solid shooter. He can create his own shot. Leads the NCAA in shooting or in scoring this year, total overall points. He's very strong from three, elite shot creation, and a overall solid defender. Not the greatest, but he's solid there. But as I mentioned, undersized for shooting guard, so he's probably going to be hamstered into that point guard role, and his playmaking is not as strong as you would like from your starting point guard. So we'll see how whoever drafts him approaches that situation as they look to get a starting point guard, or maybe a shooting guard that's just a little bit undersized for that starting role. Next up, we've got Jordan White, the 6'11 power forward center out of Baylor. He is 19 years old, with comparisons to Charles Oakley at his best. I think he's got a better comparison to guys like Kevon Looney, Derek Favors. White is just a big, bruising, big center who thrives in the paint and on boards. He's very physical and aggressive. Strong rebounder, as I mentioned, and an interior scorer. He's a solid, consistent shot blocker, but he doesn't provide much outside of the paint. No mid-range jumper, really, no three-point shot. And against quicker opponents, he's going to struggle to stay in front of them, which is why he really reminds me of a Kevon Looney type player. Next up, we've got Tyson Bailey, projected to go around number 24 out of Texas. He's a 6'10 power forward, with comparisons to Al Horford and Jeff Green. So two kind of similar but different players. Jeff Green obviously a little bit smaller of a power forward, and Al Horford a little bit closer to a center. So we'll see which role Tyson Bailey gets into in his NBA career. Bailey is a two-way forward, out of Dallas, so he's playing in his hometown state. He's got a very high motor, very versatile. He can go to that small forward. He can go to that center if you need him to. Not that he's going to excel at those spots. He's much better as a power forward, but he can do it if needed. He's a very good defender. I mean, he's great at switching, as I mentioned, 3 through 5. He's a good, solid post player. He's got great footwork for a young guy coming out of college, and he's a very solid, capable outside shooter. Needs to work on, being a little bit better handling the ball. Playmaking struggles. He's a little bit slow when it comes to grasping new offenses, but the main weakness he can't really overcome is he's not athletic at all. He doesn't have a great vertical, not very fast. And that's going to hurt him when it comes to rim protection and when it comes to, getting rebounds and staying on the board. Next up, we've got another foreign guy, a Serbian point guard, Roman Petrovic, out of Serbia, as I mentioned, 6'5". Comparisons to Goran Dragic. Tomas Satoransky is there as a comparison as well. Petrovic is just a straight-up pure point guard. I mean, in the purest of forms. He's got elite vision, elite ball control. He's been in pro leagues since he was 16. So this guy's a true leader, a pass-first player, not a great offensive player if you're expecting him to come over and score a lot. But great playmaking, great decision-making, and a very high IQ defender. Unfortunately, doesn't have the best athleticism, and he's a very, very hesitant scorer, which can harm him a little bit. A lot of teams, basically try to force him to score the ball because he's not really willing to do it. As you can see, he's averaging 13 assists, but he is only averaging 15 points per game overseas right now in the Serbian Basketball League. Next up, one of the final projected picks in the first round, we've got Mason Wells out of Villanova. Mason Wells is a Tobias Harris, David West type power forward. He's a little bit smaller, 6'9", a very skilled and polished all-around game. Good shooter, especially in the mid-range. He's a solid defender, and he's got pretty solid footwork. He's very intelligent on the offensive side of the ball, but not a dominant athlete. He's not going to be a high flyer. And he's not the best against bigger players with that frame, at power forward. He might get pushed around a little bit, especially if he gets switched onto a taller power forward like a Evan Mobley type guy, or just onto a center in, certain defensive sets. That's what could potentially be holding him back. Next up, we've got Juwan the Juice Mitchell, 6'5" point guard out of USC, one of the more well-known players in this draft coming into it out around the country. Juice has excelled at USC, led them to a Elite 8 appearance this past season. The last season around. Juice is a Jamal Murray, Anthony Simmons type point guard, very flashy, great ball handler, very, very high IQ when it comes to clutch moments. He is going to be creative. He's going to create his own shot, confident in his own shot, even though he's a streaky three-point shooter. But he can take over, and he can hit you some very, very clutch shots. He's got a quick, fast step and elite handles, and obviously, as I mentioned, streaky but reliable three-point shooter when it comes down to the clutch moments. Obviously, on defense, he does struggle a little bit with his frame at 185 pounds. About there. He could be a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger as he comes into the NBA officially. As we move on to another point guard, Omar Richardson, a 21-year-old 6'3" guard out of Georgetown. Tyus Jones is probably the best comparison for him. Omar, wouldn't say he's necessarily like the greatest player in this draft, but he's a solid all-around playmaker. Very good leader. He's going to control, slow down your offense, and get them into the tempo they need to be. Really a floor general, solid passer, and a all-around good perimeter defender. Needs to work on his, agility and change of direction on defense, and he does not, do the best when it comes to playing against very fast or very athletic players, especially when it's on the perimeter guarding them one-on-one. I think he could definitely work on that. Nathan Garrison is a 6'10" power forward Buckeye from Ohio State. And he's got comparisons to guys like Steven Adams or Jonas Valanciunas. He's a very good post player, very good rebounder, rim protector, great screen setter. I mean, this guy's probably the best screen setter in the entire draft. Limited shooting. I mean, he can do it a little bit in college, 31%, but that's going to go down probably once he gets into the NBA. And he's not the fastest or most athletic guy in the draft, so he definitely needs to have a little bit of development sitting there late in the first round, around number 27. Next up, we have Another guy I'm actually pretty interested in is Rashad Benson. This guy is very raw. He is 22 years old, so you would hope for him to be a little bit younger. But he reminds me of Matisse Thybulle, just straight up. Not a great shooter. I mean, as you can see, he hasn't shot a single three, or at least hasn't made a single three in college. But this guy, I mean, is very fast, very athletic, very strong, and he is just a lockdown perimeter defender. He can finish in transition. He's very strong going to the rim, but his offensive unit and skill is just very raw. Not a good jumper at all. I mean, really, really raw, but is good. Got a good frame, good wingspan. I think Rashad Benson is like the ultimate project player if you look at this draft as a whole, as we are now going to get to another Frenchman who it looks like actually fell out of the first round. That's crazy. Right now we've got Theo Marchand, 21 years old, out of France. As I mentioned, he's 6'8", got comparisons to Boris Diaw or Denis Avdia if you're looking for a more modern comparison. He really was a big fan of Diaw growing up in France. A very, very skilled passer at the power forward position, great court vision, and a very strong mid-range shooter. Not athletic at all, but a solid three-point shooter. Needs to work on his defense, but this guy is going to be a great player if he's put into a role like a Boris Diaw, ironically enough, because of how similar he is. If he's put into the right role, I definitely believe that Marchand can become like a, first guy off the bench and a guy that just straight up dominates on the offensive side of the ball. And if he can become at least like a reliable defender, I mean, he doesn't need to necessarily be like some lockdown defender, in my opinion. I think he's got a solid chance at becoming a, okay NBA player, a role player as he goes across his career. The last few guys in the first round projected right now, we have Dan Stockton projected to go about 27 in most mock drafts. He's got all NBA comparisons. He's a 20-year-old shooting guard, 6'4", out of Boston College. Very solid shooter, good form from long range, and he can finish well around the rim, but he's not the most high IQ offensive player. Defense does struggle a little bit. I mean, he's shooting it well in college, but Stockton is not exactly like some guy that's going to come in and lock everybody up. Another shooting guard we've got is Courtney Alexander out of LSU. He's a little bit taller at 6'5". This guy, very much similar to Jalen Suggs, kind of undersized for shooting guard, a little oversized for point guard, and not the best playmaker when it comes to, getting to the rim, opening for other guys, and getting into a new offensive system. But, very fast on defense, solid defender. Courtney Alexander hopefully could have a career progression like a Jalen Suggs type player. Next up, we've got Emmanuel Barnes. I don't think we've talked about him yet, but he's got good comparisons. De'Aaron Fox as an all-star or Dennis Smith Jr. as a bench player. Barnes is potentially one of the best, potential-wise, I should say, one of the best guys in the draft. He's very good when it comes to athleticism, speed, agile, agility, change of direction. I mean, he's done it. He can do it all on that side of the ball, or in that aspect. Has a good, solid shooting form, but not the most reliable, but he can hit threes every once in a while. His anticipation is a little bit lagging behind. His athleticism sometimes goes faster than his mind can go. So he does have a tendency to make turnovers, make stupid plays on offense and defense every once in a while. And at 6'2", he is very undersized for the modern NBA, but I think with his speed and his athleticism, he can probably overcome that a little bit. He has dropped, however, since the early mock drafts. He is now projected to go right at the very end of the NBA draft. But that is now a comprehensive look at the first round of this draft. Obviously, everybody's going to change a little bit as we finish out this season, and we will do another general overview or look into the mock draft as we wrap up this final month and a week and a half of the season. Hopefully this team can make a run. I would love to get into the play-in tournament, have a little bit of something to celebrate or be excited for, but if not, we're going to be getting straight into the offseason after the next couple episodes. And that's where we will pick up and hopefully get this team into the playoffs next time around, or hopefully the play-in tournament at minimum next time around. As always, that is all for today. Hope you all did enjoy. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload. And I'll see you all next time. Have a great day, everybody.